What's up, guys, and thank you for joining us for another episode, I can't speak today, of Blitz Brawl. It's the weekly showdown where we pit community member against community member in a showdown to find out who is best this week in a game of Blitz. With me, as always, is Speed Robo. Thank you for joining me, my friend.
Hey, no need to thank me. I'm always happy to be here, and I'm really happy to see these two players in particular square off for our Blitz game today. We've got Gravy and we've got Jacob, and they are both two incredibly positive influences on this community. They bring such a wholesome energy to every game and every interaction, and I am thrilled that we get a chance to watch them square off on our battlefield.
I mean, how can I follow that? I literally can't follow that, can I, right? So we're going to jump over there very, very soon. So the way Blitz works, remember, guys, is it removes the draft element. It's 80 gold Blitz. Each player has 80 golds worth in their army, their kingdom, and they will be placing the cards on the board. It's not draft. It is kind of drafting, but it's more they're placing for position. They're not actually choosing or drafting what cards they got. All the cards you see will need to be played on the board to meet that 80 gold limit. But anyway, enough of my nonsense and talking on now. I think it's time to dive straight into the game. So we'll catch you guys in the game. It's going to be a good one. Right, so we are into this 80 gold Blitz matchup against Gravy and Jacob, I believe, actually, yeah. I was trying to remember their handle name, but then I was just like, you know what? We're on first name terms. I'm going to use Jacob. I don't care. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this one. Gravy's a player I very rarely get to see play because our matches just don't tie in together. When I do play against him, I get destroyed. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this one pans out. But drafting phase, talk us through this drafting phase, Speed Rubbo. We have got Kaladrix facing off against Argog. Come on, what are we expecting to see here?
So what we're looking at right here is we have Gravy on the attack, and so that'd be Kaladrix is what Gravy's playing, and he's on the attack. Argog is the hero that Jacob brought to the board, and he's going to be on the defense. Argog is actually a really good defensive hero, especially since Gravy is bringing the ability card Inner Vitality and the item card Bulwark Boots. This means he's going to be able to take that capture point in the center and hold it with his defensive keywords and his healing passive. So the question to this is, how is Gravy going to be able to handle this? And I think the answer is his Norfane Sorcerer. With Norfane Sorcerer, he can remove Argog's passives and then move in for the kill, maybe knock Argog off that center with his Roar ability, and try to capture it that way. I think what we're going to be seeing here is a very defensive, very maneuver-based Blitz game from both these players, as Gath tends to like to be an aggressive deck, but they're having to play the defender role, and Sylvan likes to be a defender sort of play style, but they're having to pick up the role of the attacker today. So we are going to see a sort of topsy-turvy, backwards kind of game here, and I'm really excited to dig into the meat of that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So first thing that jumps out to me is the frontline units for Gath. Normally you've got these like crag behemoths, these titanous units just kind of staring down. But here we're seeing Trench Digger Goblin, a card that I don't see tons anyway. And it's not the most tankiest unit, it's not the most scariest unit. Is there a reason why we're seeing these in the front line, say, over what you'd more traditionally see in Gath?
Yeah, so here's my strategy on this. It looks like, to me, that Gravy is playing a very Goblin archetype-focused build, where he's bringing Goblin Slingshot and Troll Shaman. So he's going to be using a lot of smaller units and then buffing them up and sacrificing them with his Goblin Slingshot to deal big damage to anything that's trying to threaten his Argog. This is one of my favorite ways to play, in fact, and I think it's a really cool way to handle it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. And as you said, that Inner Vitality earlier on, you mentioned on Argog, like, healing 4 is absolutely huge amounts of healing. And the ability to, like you said, potentially throw Argog on center as an ability, and just to heal for 4 over and over and over and over is really, really strong. Obviously, as well, the passive physical damage return as well, coming from the Thorn Mail, the movement as well, and the Steadfast all makes it mean that you can't just run in and attack that Argog. He's pretty much going to have to be sat there whole turn. However, the front little, well, I say little, the scary front bears do have a rather nice raw mechanic, right? Which can be used to push Argog off that center hex.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's the number one thing that Jacob's going to have to watch out for. Yep, we're going to have to see how he handles that. They are beginning the battle phase. Let me just move Jacob's ability cards to the side to get a better shot of that on camera.
Yeah, no worries. Well, there we go. We are into the fight. And we can see straight away Cragwyvern saying, I'm not messing around. Boom.
This is a big ability. Tethier Fletcher,
Yeah.
one of the most important combo cards in Sylvan. Anytime your archer strikes, you can give it one of 3 abilities. The ability to ignore armor and deal guaranteed damage, the ability to move a card, and then the ability to make that card unable to move. So by comboing it in a specific way, you can drag that card to your front line, prevent it from moving, and then take out the enemy card with one of your attackers, and that is exactly what Gravy is going for today. I think it's darn cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. So using the Tethir Bowmaster, a really expensive, like one of the most expensive ranged units in the game, coming at 14 gold. One card you don't see very often there, combining with the Tethir Fletcher. Now it's key to note, right, that the Tethir Fletcher doesn't tap if you use its ability as a passive. But you can only use the ability once per round. So you don't use the action of the Tethir Fletcher. It's there more as just a passive to whichever archer around it you choose to buff.
Yep, absolutely. Trench Digger Goblin moving in and using its combinable ability. This is going to prevent Trench Digger Goblin from being attacked by charging units. It's going to prevent it from being moved by enemy abilities, so the Ursa Major and Ursa Minor cannot affect it. And Trench Digger Goblin will now take 0 damage from archers. This could be the Sylvan killer.
Yeah, because it's not evasion number, right? It's just straight up evasion. You cannot hit this thing with ranged attacks. It is a ghost to anyone who is further than 1 hex away from it. It doesn't exist. It is purely an entity on the battlefield. It's quite an important entity because it's claiming center hex right now. Very quick play here, right? Gravy coming out the gates and really just kind of going, hey, you know what? You're going to take my Wyvern? Fine. I'm going to take center hex.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, Gravy, known for his lightning fast plays, he is not afraid to start chewing through his enemy units in any way he can. Jacob, now thinking about where he wants to move. Argog with the Boots of Speed, it does give him +1 movement. So he could zoom all the way across the board. Another Trench Digger coming in and using its ability. I like it.
Yes, yeah, setting up some potential defensive formations, right? As you said, they are on defense, the Gath. So getting a nice position there and getting kind of keeping that line there. Bit of protection to Argog, bit of protection to the slingshots around here as well. There are some charging units linked up over there on the Sylvan side, so it's nice to have these guys to give a little bit of a wall of protection.
I could not agree more. You know, like I say, sometimes you got to put on your chess hat. And right now, it looks like Jacob is building up a solid, like, arrowhead formation right on that center capture point, which anybody who's played chess will know that making your pawns work like that to protect each other and hold middle in chess is good. It's even better in Legacy's Allure because you win by holding that center. So right now, Jacob is looking to be in a very strong position despite being down a Cragwyvern.
Yes. Yeah, and that is a big loss early on, right? The Cragwyvern, we have to say, especially for new players, the gold count's always a good way of justifying how big of a loss it was. 8 gold is definitely on the, what you'd say, verging on the expensive side of a card. So it's definitely a card he doesn't want to be losing in 2 turns, but it's gone. However, the very fast play back to them seems to be kind of pushing Gravy back a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And being pushed back as the attacker is the exact opposite of what you want to have happen. You know, if you are in the attacker role, you need to constantly be pushing forward, threatening the opponent, because if you are not on that center hex, you lose the game. Jacob doesn't even have to hold that center hex the entire game. As long as he can just keep Gravy off of it and away from it, he will still win. So yeah, you know, getting pushed back like this is not what you want to see if you are Gravy.
Yep, indeed. So we're seeing bringing the Goblin Lackey up now. Now these are one of the Goblin units, right? That you said that they're cheap, but they're there combined with something like the Goblin Slingshot. They can become very powerful little tool. It can also buff itself as well, right? So it's it can be a pretty powerful little high flying goblin, shall we say, when combined with a slingshot to really slap a Sylvan archer or melee character in the face.
For sure. Another thing that Goblin Lackey can do is it can be used to heal up other units. So things like that Warg Archer and Argog himself with the higher health totals, Goblin Lackey can come in and help keep those guys alive. Not to mention the Trench Digger Goblins, you know. If Gravy moves in and starts trying to deal damage to these guys, Jacob can just say, nope, Goblin Lackey, and heal them back up. Looks like we're going to skip that Deepwood Protector. Gravy really sitting on the back foot here. That's very good. Very good for Jacob. That is exactly what he wants to see happening right now. You know, just wasting Gravy's actions, getting closer to that center, setting up an even tighter formation, and holding that line.
Yeah, are you surprised to see this play from Gravy when they were so aggressive early on by pulling in the Cragwyvern with the Tefir Fletcher combination, and then now kind of enforcing the Blackfoot? Are you surprised to see that play, or do you think they just biding their time, knowing that, hey, you know what, I can just chill out here. I've got a lot of units here. I've got a lot of power to use later on in the game.
I'm a little bit surprised, if I'm being honest. You know, if I was in Gravy's position, I would not be giving a Trench Digger Goblin buff style build a chance to set up all those buffs, a chance to set up this kind of formation. I would keep moving in. I would keep pushing forward, because the longer you let Jacob control the pace of this fight, the worse it's going to get for Gravy. And I'd be controlling the pace right now. That's what I would be doing. So I'm very surprised to see that this is what's happening.
So the Tefir Archer there hit the Trench Digger Goblin, but I believe it has an evasion, right? So it shouldn't have lost the armor from the Tefir Archer.
Well, actually, it did lose the shield, and that was correct. And the reason why is because shield is factored in before any other forms of damage reduction. So even if you have evasion or armor, if you get hit for that 1 damage, you will still lose your shield because it's factored in before your evasion.
Okay, so yeah, so the evasion is on your base health, not on any shielding you're carrying as well.
Exactly. Goblin Slingshot moving up, sacrificing that Goblin Lackey to deal 3 damage. A very big play. And now Gravy trying to get his flankers into position to shoot around and take out Jacob's back line.
Yeah. And these...
overall, good.
I was saying these Northern Great Hunters are... Do not sleep on these Northern Great Hunters. They have one of my favourite keywords in the game, backstab. My God, is backstab an incredibly frustrating keyword to play against. These guys can come in, they're charging 3 damage, and they take no retaliation. They are very good at cleaning out the back lines, as you said, setting up the flankers. I think they are incredibly good flankers myself.
I fully agree. They are one of my favorite cards, and I think they are one of Sylvan's most powerful tools. They can be used as flankers, but they're just sturdy enough to be used as frontline attackers in a pinch as well. Yep. And right now, Jacob has to think about how he wants to protect his Goblin Slingshot. As you can see, Norfane Great Hunter has 3 movement and charging. This means that it can move and attack. Goblin Slingshot is 3 hexes away and has 3 health. With Norfane Great Hunter's 3 power, this could take out the Slingshot in the next round.
Yeah, indeed. So, obviously, this is where we always say, getting kind of, once you get beyond that halfway point of round 1, it very much becomes almost a poker face gameplay of who's going to grab initiative. How many turns can I get out of my opponent before I can start skipping to get the initiative? How far can I push them? And back there as well. And it's a real nice kind of tug of war battle to see players take. As we see Argog being moved back, being roared back there, I should say, by the Ursa Major.
Argog getting thrown all the way into the back line, farther away than he even started out. That is going to be brutal, as Argog right now is Jacob's key threat. Scourge Sorcerer coming in. It's going to force a card to attack. Oh, a Norfane Great Hunter into a Lackey. This is really smart. This is going to pull that Great Hunter out of position and allow Jacob to start dealing some damage to it.
Yep. And as I said, I mean, these cards are so good that we can see Gravy's running 3 of these Norfane Great Hunters because they are so good. And we can see there the charge coming in there from the Archer onto the Glinthawk, the Gladehawk. Gladehawk, what a card this is. The unsung hero of Sylvan, in my opinion. Being taken out there.
Unsung for sure. Oh my goodness. Gladehawk, one of my favorite cards to draft.
So at the moment, gold lost count is 12-2. Jacob has lost 12 of their gold, and Gravy has lost 2. And we can see now, really quick play there. I didn't even know it was the end of the round. I was getting caught up then.
End of round happened. Gravy managed to snag going first, and he uses his Tethier Bowmaster's ability to gain +1 power and lose 1 range to just take out that Warg Archer immediately. Vesuvian Warlock coming in, rooting the Ursa Major and dealing a burn to it. Then a Tethier Archer taking out the Scourge Sorcerer. I'm hoping that Jacob has some kind of plan to come back from this, because right now it looks like Gravy managed to outmaneuver him at the end of the round. I don't think Jacob was expecting to lose the initiative at the start of round 2 like this.
No, and a really big swing there, right? Losing 2 units very quickly into round 2 for Jacob is really kind of swung the tide of battle. It's we say it all the time, Legacy's Law is very much a game that, I mentioned earlier, the tug of war battle, you're pulling and it's this way, it's that way, and it very much now feels like the momentum has fallen to Sylvan, has fallen to Gravy, and just maybe got the upper hand with that very quick end of round 1, start of round 2 play.
I completely agree. And that's the kind of explosive play that I expect to see from Gravy. You know, I love watching him set up some kind of tricky trap and combo, and then using it to just wipe out half the opponent's army. Yeah. Goblin Lackey charging in on this Ursa Major to deal it 3 damage. Argog can then also charge in and clean off this Ursa Major, and that is a pretty big take in Jacob's favor. This could help him come back into the game.
Yeah. These are one of those mages either of the Ursas, I should say, is incredibly strong. A distinct lack of healing in the Sylvan army for Gravy, and the other Ursa is still starting with 3 health, so it's not exactly doing well.
Oh my gosh! I didn't see that coming, Woody. I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. Goblin Sling coming in with a huge play, using the Goblin Lackey with 3 power to take out the Ursa Minor. Oh my goodness! This is a double dead Ursa.
Yeah, both. It looks like both Ursas going to be taking this game here. Unit-wise, we are seeing Gravy still has the population of units to outpower Jacob in terms of numbers and resources, but no doubt about it, incredibly powerful plays. Those Ursas rack up to 18 gold between them. It's not gone yet, but if it goes this round, 18 gold is a lot of gold to lose. Nearly 25% of your deck, of your army gone. So it's
Well, not only that, looking at the overall units on the board, it is undeniable that those two bears were Gravy's only form of a tank class unit, and now that both of those are taken out, it is going to be incredibly hard for Gravy to not only capture the center, but hold that center.
Yep.
And Argog is currently undamaged.
Yep. Undamaged and still at mana with the Inner Vitality free. So it's easy to look at this and say, oh yeah, well, Jacob only has 5 units left. Inner Vitality revives 4, or potentially gives back 4 health per round. Which is insane amounts of healing. Gladehawk gets eaten alive with it. So many units just get eaten if they run into the Argog. So it's very interesting to see how this plays out now. Very, very interesting. Obviously, the end of round 2 happening there. An initiative then going across to to Jacob for the start of round 3.
Ooh, okay. He's opening up with Troll Shaman. Going to be buffing the Vesuvian Archer, if I had to guess. Oh my goodness! He's buffing his Trench Digger Goblin to give it +1 power. He's going to use it to take out the Ursa Major and then move the other Trench Digger into center and keep holding.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I suppose if he brings... So if he moves out to take the Ursa Major and then a Norfang or even a Kaladrix goes into center to hold it, well, then you have an Argog that can just run in and do big damage, right? So it's...
Absolutely.
It's really building up to be a hell of a close game on the end here. The Vesuvian Archer sitting out deep. This card here, do not sleep on this card. The Imbued and Burn 1 with the range. That Burn 1 can really get going. 2 base damage, as well as that burn that can tick over. Can clean up a lot of the Sylvan units left on the board at the moment once the Ursa Major goes.
Yeah. Vesuvian is one of my favorite archetypes in the entire game. Burn is a very cool keyword as it provides damage over time. And I think it's just so much fun to just distribute those burn counters and watch the enemy health just slowly tick away. And there it goes, Trench Digger Goblin taking down the Ursa Major. Absolutely incredible here.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Norfing retreating. This means the center is all open for Jacob to move on in and capture.
Yes, and those Trench Digger Goblins as well. 4 health. Do not look past that 4 health. That extra 1 health over the free attack of some of Gravy's powerful units, like the Norfang Great Hunters. It's so important to keeping it alive. 4 health is a really high stat line in Legacy's lore for a 5 gold card.
It really is. Vesuvian Archer is going to move up so that its arrow shots can threaten center. So anything that Gravy may want to move to center to try and capture it will get punished by that Archer in the next round. Another really smart play.
Definitely. Do you think, obviously, the amount of units or like unit resources and turn resources are very heavily favoured into Gravy's hands right now in terms of initiative? Do you think there's a chance that Jacob kind of just gives up the turns here to take initiative? Is that ever going to be a case, or do they always want to be making sure they're doing something with all of their remaining 5 units?
Well, if I was Jacob, I would make sure that I was always doing something with the remaining 5 units. And then, just because Gravy has the action economy on Jacob doesn't mean that he's won. You know, like, is it an advantage? Yes, absolutely. It is one of the many different advantages and imbalances that you can grab in this game, just like the 7 chess imbalances. But there are definitely ways for Jacob to play around it, right? Like, Trench Digger Goblin itself neutralizes all these archers that Gravy has left on the board, effectively rendering them useless. So that means that the only units that Gravy really has to work with are his Sorcerer, his Hunters, Gladehawk, and Hero. And that's it.
Yeah, and the Steadfast as well, because a lot of the units had the charging, and you don't even put a Gladehawk next to a Trench Digger when it can't do damage, you're just going to get eaten alive next turn. You're just going to lose that action economy slowly if you can't charge your units into your opponent's units, or like you said, if you can't use your range units to chip them down to get the damage on there.
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
Okay, so
Trench Digger got away from center. That's interesting. I'm not entirely sure why that was the play, but I'm interested to see what Jacob has in mind. He's surprised me multiple times during this game alone, so this could be another very interesting play that I'm going to get surprised with.
Yeah.
Surrounding the Trench Digger, trying to kill it, I think. Oh, the Trench Digger is going to die at the end of this round anyway because of the Troll Shaman buff.
Of course, yes. So that's going to be down to 4 units for Jacob. We see that.
Clustering all in that corner over there. I always love seeing, like these full backline repositions to just huddle up in one corner and try to strike through at the opportune moment. Trench Digger Goblin not afraid, moving in, getting that steadfast, getting that evasion.
Yep. And remember as well, on the Argog has that 4 now. Physical damage return of 4. Which is huge. Like, yep. Kaladrix runs in, Kaladrix is dead. Because the physical damage return.
I actually think Kaladrix is dead right now. Argog can just charge him for 4 damage.
Of course, yeah, of course. You can charge straight in for 4 damage.
Gone.
And that's it, hero gone. And now you do not want to touch that Argog. Because, okay, you can chip its damage down. Obviously, the imbued damage coming through over here. Silenced damage coming through. Silence damage coming through. The hush coming through to silence, right? Oh, to break, sorry. The break, yes. The neutralize.
Yep, break to turn off the steadfast is really the only way that Gravy's going to have a chance to deal with this Argog. I think he might have just enough damage to chip that Argog down, and it looks like it, because now that Argog has lost that steadfast, those Great Hunters can move in and seal the deal, and I do think that was something that Jacob must have missed. Yep, there it is. Argog's down. I think Jacob just missed that trade, and unfortunately, I think that's going to close out the game in Gravy's favor with only the 1 Trench Digger left.
Yep.
And a Shaman.
Do the Northern Great Hunters not die because the physical damage return of 4 on those?
Break removes the physical damage return.
Of course, you're right, yeah. It does remove it, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it does say on the formal card, passive. So it is a passive, so it is removed.
Yep, absolutely.
And there we go. We can see there.
There you go.
5 rounds.
Well fought by both players for sure.
Indeed, absolutely, indeed. It's it was a very exciting game, and it was very interesting to see that Gravy kind of just sat back, was just like there, just kind of eating their chips, like, hey, Jacob, you keep bringing that Gath army to me. You keep bringing it. Don't worry, I'm cool. I'm going to enjoy this guacamole, and then I'm going to deal with you in a minute. And that's basically what happened. And it was obviously eating guacamole because they're playing Sylvan, so you know.
Oh right, the green. You gotta
see
color scheme.
I know this Gravy. Gravy loves kind of they love matching, you know. But no, it was a great game to see, and it was a real kind of masterclass in movement, in patience, in almost. I don't want to say letting your opponent overextend, because I don't think for any minute that Jacob did overextend. But Jacob saw the opportunity, pushed that opportunity, and then I think ultimately at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what Gravy kind of could then start bringing those Northern Great Hunters around and start picking off 1 or 2 units who were there.
Yep, I completely agree with that assessment. It goes to show that one of the top virtues in Legacy's Allure, one of the #1 things that you can do, is have patience. Really take the time, think through not only your moves and your opponent's moves, but your moves after your opponent's moves. That's what Gravy really showcased today, and that is how he managed to get that win. So, huge thanks to both players for throwing down a Blitz game for us today.
Definitely.
Awesome.
And if you guys are sat there and thinking this looks super cool, well, do you know what? You're in luck. Not only is today your day because you found an amazing game and an amazing video, today's your day because you can play this amazing game and amazing video. Oh yes. Don't worry, it's not a buy one get one free offer or anything like that, although it sounds like it. But you can literally head down below to the description and you can jump over to the Discord and you can jump in and just message in the LFG channel, hey, I'm looking to play my first game. That's all you got to do. Mr. Robo, the wonderful human being as he is, or others may be there, or they will be there, and they will show you the game, and they'll be able to show you how the game works and play through it. But be warned, you may lose your life, you may become addicted. That's just, we have to say that. We have to put that little caveat on there.
It's the big disclaimer, isn't it?
It's massive. We have to do it. We have to do it. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for stopping by for this another Blitz Brawl. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Mr. Robo, again for being here. It's always a wonderful pleasure casting with you, my friend.
Same to you. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Goodbye.